Magical realism is both a literary device and what some might describe as an occult practice, although it is not all that occult. Folks who are into my video work on becoming a real wizard are made aware of Franz Barden's 3 books. His book on evocation, or ceremonial magic, says that the highest symbol of the magic circle is in your hand, which is a hint and a reference to taking the thumb and the first finger of both hands and forming a circle, a well-known and understood practice when sitting in a meditative posture. So we combine the making of the mudra, that's a mudra, the circle with the thumb and the first finger, and couple that with sitting in an asana, which some people consider the best one to be the full lotus, although sitting in a chair works equally well. Non-physical beings can be called into such a space created by the circle, and then into a natural triangle that really arises in the mind. When we make this gesture and close our eyes and sit, there is a kind of triangle between our head and our hands, which are resting on our knees. That space is recognized in our consciousness in its totality, even though we tend to think of ourselves as only in our head. The fact is we are aware of everything in the sphere of our consciousness. In this way, we are in the ethereal sphere, the life sphere, the sphere of life forces. And a kind of evocation, then, is the highest form of meditative magic. East and West do not follow the same inner disciplines here, but for a Westerner coming awake to the magic and mysticism of true thinking, contact will be made with higher beings, while the nature of the contact is dependent upon our intention, the core of which is selflessness. When we think for others, we are then inspired. The touch of this inspiration is very light. I sometimes in my writing call it the subtle and delicate presence of fullness and fullness of presence. We have an experience that we are not alone, and at the same time we are completely free in what we think and imagine. Imagine it as a kind of love affair, with the lover with the greatest skill being the invisible beings. I'm next going to read a little story that came from such a practice, which has been the central practice of my years now for decades. This is a story called Bicycles, or a children's Christmas story for adults. It has a little introduction. This story is dedicated to Gabriella, Catherine Rose, Ross Gregory, and Adam, who were on my mind Christmas Eve 1996, as their fathers, of which I must confess I was one, were absent from home for the season. It was written the following Christmas morning. There once was a girl who found herself weeping in the dark, alone in her room. This is nothing unusual. Many people, not just children, can be found weeping alone with their pain in the dark of the night. But there was a difference, although it was not a difference as infrequent as we might imagine. And the difference was this. While she was weeping, an angel appeared, sitting quietly at the end of her bed. It was quite a while before the girl noticed the angel. Yet this did not bother the angel, who had been, if we do not mind, created out of patience and joy. After a time the girl stopped weeping, and the two simply looked at each other for a while. Finally the angel reached out and touched the girl on the shoulder and asked, "What is troubling you, child?" Now it is true that the angel already knew the answer to this question, but the angel also knew that the girl needed to talk about her grief. This was the girl's answer. "It is Christmas Eve," she said. "My father and mother have quarreled, and my father is not here. I don't even know when or if he is coming home." At this, the girl, who was at that very awkward age between being a child and being a young woman, began to weep again, even more deeply than before. After a while she stopped, looked at the angel, and asked, "Why?" and then began weeping some more. Now you may wonder why the girl wasn't troubled or confused by someone being in her room at night. The fact is that when you meet an angel, there is no question about what is happening. No doubt, no confusion. Angels aren't like anything else except angels. This is how the angel answered the girl. "Are you ever bad?" asked the angel. "Yes," she said, a bit hesitantly. "Are you ever bad on purpose, knowing you are being bad?" "Yes," she said, almost whispering now. "Are you ever bad by accident, not having thought about what might happen?" "Yes," she said, a little more confident. "Do bad things sometimes happen, even though you are trying as hard as possible to do something good?" "Yes," she said, back to herself finally. Then they sat together for a while. She was thinking, and the angel just was. "Okay," she eventually said. "Mother and father aren't trying to hurt me, and I didn't do something wrong." "Right," said the angel. "But," she said, having just reinvented philosophy, "why is the world such a terrible place?" After a very long pause, the angel said, "It's because of the bicycles." This was said with a straight face, as much as an angel can be said to have a straight face, their normal countenance being filled with patient joy. Even so, the girl's dark mood broke, and she laughed, and then, caught in this odd feeling, she tried to stop and ended up almost falling out of bed because she was giggling so much. Again, there was a passage of time so that the girl could ask her next question without breaking up. It actually took several attempts before she could get the question out. "What do you mean, it's the bicycle?" she said, pulling up the hem of her nightgown, as much to distract herself as to dry the tears of both suffering and mirth. "Well," said the angel, "as you have guessed, the bicycles are invisible, being made out of ideas and dreams and hope and despair, all stuck together with a bit of conscience and just plain stubbornness. Every day people wake up and ride around on their invisible bicycles, forgetting the bicycles are there, and then because they have forgotten them, people just keep banging into each other. Soon all the bicycles are in great disrepair, some with flat tires, some with crooked wheels, and some without even handlebars to steer by. It takes a great deal of courage for people, for mothers and fathers, to get up in the morning and ride their bicycles out into life each day. A great deal of courage." Then the angel was quiet again, and so was the girl. After a while, the girl, having graduated from philosophy to theology, asked, "Why does God let this go on? Why doesn't He fix the bicycles and make people learn how to ride them without banging into each other?" Said the angel. Now, before you imagine the angel was pausing to think, I should tell you that that's not what was happening. Angels do think, but when they do, something happens. For angels, thinking creates. The reason the angel said, was so that the girl would first reflect a little about what she had said before the angel answered her. "Do you ever talk to God?" asked the angel. "I think so," said the girl, tentative again, and rightly so. "You should, you know," said the angel. "You can't interrupt him or bother him when he's doing something. He always listens, always. And when you talk to him, he never interrupts you, never tells you he's heard it before or done it himself or knows more than you. You couldn't ask for a better listener. And when you're done, he doesn't give advice or tell you what to do or criticize what you've done or tell you aren't adequate. He just listens and accepts you and loves you, whatever you have to say." Then the angel asked another question. "Do you ever get angry at God?" "What?" exclaimed the girl. "Get angry at God?" "Of course," said the angel. "God loves you and wants your love. People who love each other get to be angry with each other. It's a way to care. God doesn't mind you're angry. Now your indifference, that's another matter." "Okay," said the girl, now a little more in touch with her own frustration. "But you haven't said anything about repairing the bicycles or giving lessons on riding them." "Didn't need to," said the angel. "All kinds of excellent repair and riding manuals already out there. There's the Bible and the Vedas and the Torah and the Koran and the Sutras and the—" "Okay, I get it," she said, interrupting the angel, who didn't mind at all. Then she paused and thought a little. "All right, this is what you've said. Granted, God is the... All right, this is what you've said. The reason the world is so difficult is because we all have our own ideas and dreams and conscience and stubbornness, and when we go out and ride these bicycles in life, we bang into each other or ride over each other's feet because we have forgotten about these invisible things. But if we want riding lessons and repair instructions, that information is already there. We just have to use it, right?" "Right," said the angel. "Okay," said the girl after a very deep sigh. "Just one more question. Granted, God is the best listener in the world, always available and never critical. How come he never answers me?" This last was spoken with a great deal of anguish, as only the very young can feel at the impossible burdens they sense when contemplating growing up and being really free and responsible for themselves. Again the angel waited for a while, as silent and beautiful as a starry winter night. "How well do you listen?" the angel answered. "He always answers you. You just don't always hear him. He answers in many ways, with the continued breath of life, or with a fading sunset, with the touch of a breeze on the cheek, or a crash of thunder. In the most quiet place inside yourself, he whispers to you, more softly than the endless beat of your heart. He sings to you in the voice of the dancing colors that delight the eye. You eat his answers for breakfast, and when you walk barefoot through the dew-wet grass, his answers touch your feet. Do you have eyes, ears? Or if not these, you have the thoughts you choose. You believe or not. Is that not a great gift itself, to have faith or not, hope or not, charity or not, according to your own will? God does answer with life, with freedom, and yes, with sorrow and pain. Are these not gifts as well?" Again there was a harmony of silence between the two of them. Then the girl smiled and looked mischievously at the angel. "Do you have a bicycle?" she asked. Then the angel laughed, and outside the girl's window the birds sang to greet with joy the first hints of dawn on Christmas morning.